All right, everyone get ready, because today we are going deep into a grammar topic that can be a little bit tricky.
Yeah.
The present perfect continuous tense.
It is one of those tenses that at first glance you're like, oh, this is pretty easy,
Okay.
pretty straightforward. But then when you actually start using it, you realize, oh, there's a lot more to this.
There's so many layers.
Yeah.
That's what's so fun about these deep dives, right?
Yeah.
We get to unpack those nuances and help you guys not just understand the present perfect continuous, but actually use it.
Right. And use it with confidence.
Yes, with confidence, that's the key.
Yeah.
So let's start with the basics. What exactly is the present perfect continuous tense?
You got it.
We know it's have or has plus been plus that ing verb,
Yeah. Right.
but what does that structure really tell us about how we experience time?
That's the key question, right? Because this tense isn't just about actions that started in the past. It's about actions that have a foot in both the past and the present.
Ooh, I like that.
So these are actions that began in the past and are still ongoing or have recently finished, but still have a visible impact in the present.
It's like a bridge,
Yes.
connecting then and now.
Yes.
It's like, hey, this thing started back there, but it's still relevant right here, right now.
Precisely. Think of it like a long-distance runner.
Okay.
They started running hours ago, and they're still running right now, pushing towards the finish line.
Okay.
That ongoing effort, that connection between past effort and present action, that is the essence of the present perfect continuous.
So it's not just about actions happening like right this second.
Right.
It's about actions that have this like continuous flow from the past into the present.
Exactly. It's like a river that started miles upstream
Okay.
and continues to flow, shaping the landscape as it goes.
I love that analogy.
Thanks.
So we use the present perfect continuous for actions that are literally continuing uninterrupted,
Right.
like that runner we talked about.
Yeah, exactly.
But it can also be used for actions that happen repeatedly over a period of time, even if they're not happening at this very moment.
Think of it like saying, I've been studying Spanish for years.
Okay.
You're not necessarily studying Spanish right this second, but it's an ongoing effort.
Right.
A journey that you started in the past and continue to pursue in some form.
It's like I've been trying to master the present perfect continuous.
A noble pursuit.
It's an ongoing endeavor for sure.
Now here's where things can get a little tricky.
Okay.
We have both the present perfect simple and the present perfect continuous,
Mm-hmm.
and they both deal with past actions and their connection to the present.
Okay.
So how do we know which one to use?
That is the question, isn't it?
It is the question.
Yeah, it's like you're standing at a door.
Yeah.
You have two doors.
Right.
Both lead to, grammatical correctness.
Exactly.
But maybe they have different views along the way or something.
One key difference lies in the types of verbs that we're using.
Okay.
Okay? So state verbs.
Mm-hmm.
Verbs like know, believe, or love.
Okay.
These generally stick to the simple form. They describe states of being not actions that unfold over time.
So I've known her for years.
Exactly.
Because knowing someone is a state of being, not an action in progress.
Precisely. But if we want to talk about an action verb,
Right.
a verb that describes a dynamic process, then we have more flexibility.
So we would say, I've been talking to her for hours.
Exactly.
Would be that continuous form, because talking is an action that unfolds over time.
You got it. It's about capturing that dynamism of the verb, the sense of something happening and evolving.
So it's not just about when the action started,
Right.
but also about the nature of the action itself,
Yeah.
whether it's a static state or like this dynamic process.
That's a great way to put it. And here's another key distinction.
Okay.
Sometimes we want to emphasize the result of an action,
Okay.
and sometimes we want to emphasize the process itself.
Give me an example. I like examples.
Imagine you're baking.
Okay.
If you say, I've baked a cake,
Yeah. Okay.
that implies that the cake is done. The result is this delicious, finished product. But if you say, I've been baking a cake,
Mm-hmm.
that suggests that you're still in the midst of it. The process is ongoing. Flour is flying. The kitchen smells amazing.
Oh, I love it.
Right.
So it's like the difference between admiring a finished masterpiece and like being in the middle of it, elbow deep in the creative process.
It's all about capturing that nuance of completion versus ongoing effort.
Okay, so state verbs usually stick with that simple form. Action verbs are more flexible.
Right.
And we consider, do we want to emphasize the result or the process?
You got it.
Okay.
But like with any good grammatical story, there's always an exception to the rule.
Oh, I like that.
And in this case, the rebel is the verb want.
Want breaks the rules.
Even though want is technically a state verb, you either want something or you don't. It can be used in both the simple and continuous forms.
So I can say both, I've wanted to visit Italy my whole life, and I've been wanting to try that new restaurant.
You absolutely can. It's one of those quirks of the English language that keep things interesting.
Quirky indeed. Wow, this is illuminating already.
And we've only just scratched the surface.
I'm ready to dive deeper.
There's so much more to explore, more nuances to uncover, and more ways to wield this powerful tense with precision and finesse.
Let's go.
All right, let's do it. Okay, so let's wade a little bit deeper, shall we, into some of the more subtle nuances of the present perfect continuous.
Ooh. I feel like I'm putting on my scuba gear,
Oh, okay.
like grammatical scuba diver, about to explore the hidden depths of this tense.
Perfect analogy. So remember how we talked about how both the simple and the continuous forms can sometimes be used with subtle shifts in meaning?
Right. It's like, they both get you there,
Right.
but maybe one's a more scenic route than the other one. Okay.
Exactly. Let's say you're talking about your week, okay? And you say, I've watched a lot of nature documentaries this week
Okay.
using the present perfect simple.
Okay, so you're emphasizing that completion. You've watched a bunch of documentaries.
Exactly.
Case closed.
All right.
Like, that's done.
What if you said instead, I've been watching a lot of nature documentaries this week using the present perfect continuous.
So it still kind of conveys the same idea,
Right.
but it feels more like the process is ongoing.
Yes.
Like, maybe I'm in the middle of my nature documentary marathon and I'm not done yet.
Exactly. It's like you're inviting us to peek into your week.
Yeah.
A week filled with breathtaking footage of wildlife and stunning landscapes.
Oh, I love it.
Right.
So even though both forms are grammatically correct,
Yes.
the choice of which to use really depends on what you want to emphasize.
That's the key takeaway.
A completed action versus the ongoing process.
Hold on tight,
Okay.
because we're about to navigate some even trickier currents here.
Hold it on.
Okay, imagine you're cooking soup, all right? And you say, I've made soup for lunch.
Okay.
Using the simple form,
Soup some.
right? Short and sweet to the point.
Yeah, soup making mission accomplished.
But what if you said instead, I've been making soup for lunch? Using the present perfect continuous.
So now it sounds like the soup is still simmering away on the stovetop
Right.
and maybe not quite ready to be served.
And here's where it gets really interesting.
Okay.
By using the continuous form in this context, you're strongly implying that the soup isn't actually finished yet. If it were, you'd likely have just used the simple form.
I made soup.
I made soup, right?
It's like a little hidden code almost.
Exactly.
The continuous form like subtly signals
Right.
that the action is incomplete, even if you don't explicitly say it.
You got it.
This is so cool.
It's all about mastering those subtle cues
Yeah.
and using them to paint a vivid picture with your words.
My mind is blown. I never realized there was like so much nuance, packed into these tenses.
I know, right? It's like we're decoding a secret language.
Yeah.
Within the
The
language.
secret language. Okay, so we've covered state verbs versus action verbs.
Yes.
Focusing on the result versus the process. And now we're talking about this like hidden code of the continuous form.
I'm starting to see the patterns here, but I have a feeling there are even more layers to this.
You are absolutely right. Remember how we said the continuous form often implies an action is still in progress?
Yeah.
Well, there are actually times when we use it even though the action has technically finished.
Wait, really?
I know it seems counterintuitive,
Yeah.
but it all comes down to emphasis.
Yeah.
Okay, sometimes we use the continuous form to highlight the recentness of an action and its lingering effects in the present, even if the action itself is over.
Okay. I need an example to really get this.
All right, imagine you walk into a room
Okay.
and you see someone covered in paint splatters.
Oh,
Okay, and you're like, what happened?
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, I've been painting my room.
gotcha. So the action of painting is technically finished.
Right.
But it's like they're wearing the evidence, you know?
Exactly.
It's like a badge of honor for a job well done, even if it's a little messy.
Right.
Yeah.
The continuous form helps us to connect that recent past action to its visible impact on the present moment. So it's not just about whether the action is like technically ongoing,
Right.
but whether it feels present in some way.
Precisely. Think of it like saying, I've been gardening, even though you're now inside washing up.
Okay.
You're still covered in dirt. Your hands smell like fresh earth. The experience feels very much alive in the present moment.
This is incredible. I'm starting to see the present perfect continuous, not just as a grammatical structure, but as like a way of shaping how we perceive time and experience it.
And that's the beauty of language, right? It's not just about conveying information. It's about shaping our perceptions and connecting with each other on a deeper level.
Well, my brain is feeling a little full right now.
Yeah.
But in a good way.
In a good way.
Any advice for our listeners as they kind of process all this new information about the present perfect continuous?
Absolutely. First and foremost, don't be afraid to experiment and make mistakes.
Right.
The more you play with this tense, the more comfortable you'll become using it in different contexts. And remember, it's all about communication.
So focus on the meaning you want to convey.
Exactly.
And just let the tense serve that purpose, you know?
Right.
Rather than getting too bogged down in the rules.
And remember, there are tons of resources out there to help you along the way.
Yeah.
Textbooks, online tutorials, even language partners who can help you practice in real-life conversations.
Oh, that's such good advice.
Ah,
We're all on this language learning journey together.
we are.
Okay, before we wrap up this part of our deep dive, I have one more question.
Okay.
We've talked about how the continuous form can be used even when an action is finished.
Mm-hmm.
Is there ever a time when the simple form is used for an action that's still ongoing?
That's a fantastic question.
Yeah.
You're really starting to think like a grammarian here.
Ooh.
The short answer is yes, but it's quite rare.
Okay.
And it usually involves specific contexts where we want to shift the focus away from the ongoing nature of the action.
Can you give me an example?
Sure, let's say you're talking about a long-term project you've been working on for months, maybe even years.
Okay.
You could say, I've worked on this project for a long time,
Yeah.
using the simple form.
Even though the project is technically still in progress,
Right.
the simple form kind of emphasizes the duration of your involvement.
It's exactly.
The sheer amount of time that you've dedicated to it.
It's almost like you're stepping back
Okay.
and looking at the project as a whole, acknowledging its significance in your life,
Right.
rather than getting bogged down in the day-to-day details.
So it's not about the nitty-gritty of what you're doing right this second.
Right.
It's about like the overall impact of this long-term effort.
Precisely. It's a subtle but powerful distinction that allows you to highlight different facets of your experience.
My mind is officially blown again.
Again!
I'm starting to see the present perfect tense, not as just a set of rules, but like a set of tools almost,
Yes.
for shaping how we communicate and experience the world.
And that's the beauty of language, right?
Yeah.
It's a constantly evolving landscape, full of hidden pathways and unexpected connections.
I like it.
The more we explore, the more we discover about ourselves and the world around us.
Well said. But before we get too lost in the philosophical implications of grammar,
Right.
I have a feeling there's still one more twist in this present perfect tale.
Me too.
Yeah.
But we've explored how these tenses function on their own.
Yeah.
But what happens when we bring them together? What happens when the simple and continuous forms collide in the same sentence?
This grammatical collision course.
Get ready for a tense-tacular showdown.
I can't wait to see what sparks fly. All right, so we've explored, the simple and the continuous forms
Right.
of the present perfect tense.
Yes.
Now it's time to witness a grammatical collision of epic proportions.
Yes. Get ready for a tense-tacular showdown.
I'm ready.
We're about to combine the simple and continuous forms in the same sentence.
Ooh, this is advanced level grammar wizardry happening here.
I know, right?
Give me an example.
Okay, imagine you're chatting with a friend about your fitness journey. Okay, and you say, I've been going to the gym regularly and I've already lost 5 pounds.
Okay, so we have the continuous form, I've been going, to describe the ongoing process of hitting the gym.
Right.
And then we have the simple form, I've lost, to highlight the result of all that effort.
Exactly. Those 5 pounds gone.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's like we're weaving a tapestry of meaning,
Yes.
using both forms to show both the journey and the destination.
Precisely. It's a beautiful demonstration of how these tenses can work together to create a more nuanced and layered expression.
Yeah, I'm starting to see how powerful this combination can be.
Right.
It's like adding depth and dimension to your storytelling.
Absolutely. And it allows you to convey a lot of information in a very concise and impactful way instead of saying, I've been going to the gym and it's been hard work, but I'm seeing results.
You're right.
You can simply say, I've been going to the gym regularly and I've already lost 5 pounds.
It's like a grammatical power move.
It is.
Packing a punch, with both the process and the result.
Exactly. And this technique can be applied to so many different situations.
Yeah.
Think of learning a new language.
Okay.
You could say, I've been studying French for a year and I can already hold basic conversations.
Ooh, very impressive.
Right.
Showing off those language learning muscles there.
Exactly.
Demonstrating both the effort and the progress.
And that's the beauty of mastering these tenses, right? You're not just following rules.
Right.
You're wielding tools to express yourself with greater clarity and impact.
Oh, this has been such an eye-opening deep dive. I feel like I've unlocked a secret level of fluency.
And remember, fluency isn't just about speaking perfectly. It's about expressing yourself confidently and authentically.
So true. Well, as we wrap up this grammatical adventure, any parting words of wisdom for our listeners as they continue to explore the nuances of the present perfect?
Keep playing with these tenses.
Okay.
Experiment with different combinations. See how they feel in different contexts. And don't be afraid to make mistakes.
Yeah.
That's how we learn and grow.
And the more you use them, the more natural they'll become.
Exactly.
So keep practicing, keep exploring, and keep having fun with language.
Well said. And if you ever feel lost or confused, come back and revisit this deep dive.
Yes.
We're always here to guide you through those twists and turns of grammar.
We're in this language learning journey together.
We are.
Thanks for joining us on this present perfect adventure.
Yeah.
Until next time, keep those tenses sharp and those conversations flowing.
Absolutely.